Live from Wrestling 911's Bermuda location, I'm Snowman Jones, here with my homeboy, the Gargoyle, the front row fanatic himself. Gargoyle, how you doing on this tremendous Tuesday afternoon?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. I'm sitting here sipping a cold beer, enjoying life. It's great to be the Gargoyle.
So folks, we've got a big show planned for you today, a lot of topics, so fasten your safety belts. Strap in, don't strap on, and we're going to kick it off, as Sean Solo used to say, right about now. So what we got today is we're going to start off kicking through the Florida Wrestling Forum on 911wrestling.com and talk about what's going on in Florida wrestling and just kick through the topics. So remember, if you want us to talk about what's going on in your neck of the woods, post on 911wrestling.com and we'll talk about it. Does that seem fair, Gargoyle?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, so first off was, the first topic that was posted on the board was about Dave Bautista's training in Tampa, Florida. And I guess I forgot that Dave Bautista has been training in Tampa, Florida. Is it with the Gracies? I'm not sure.
Don't know, don't care.
Well, then we just covered an entire 10-minute, 15-minute show on Dave Bautista. So maybe we should save that one for the folks who really want to hear about Dave Bautista. Go to the last show we did, listen to us talk about Dave Bautista. But the one thing is, I have seen the guy a couple times around Tampa. There are some videos that I've taken of the guy and with the guy and whatnot. He does drive a badass Burt Reynolds style 1970s, 1980 Trans Am. Do you remember that car?
Yes, I remember him pulling up there to the SCW arena in that bad boy when you filmed it and took the pictures.
There you go, there you go. I've always liked that. I forget how many liters, 6.8 liter or whatever. That type of Camaro is a pretty badass car. So love him or hate him, he's got pretty good taste in muscle cars.
Absolutely.
Okay, then from there, it sounds like the November PWX Pro Wrestling Extreme run by Frank Goodman was canceled. So there's a December 8th event that's going to feature the original Evil Doink, Matt Bourne. And what are your thoughts on the various doinks?
Well, to me, that's an entirely overused gimmick. We have a guy up here in our neck of the woods who runs AWF, American Wrestling, or Alabama Wrestling Federation up here that uses that gimmick. Does a good job with it, but, doink's an easy gimmick. You can put anybody under the hood in the clown suit if they got some ability. They can make it work, but it's good to see that Matt Bourne, the actual original Doink, is going to be the guy doing it.
So, yeah, what's the story there? Now, I remember when it was probably the early 2000s, late 90s, and every indie show had a Doink. And I know the WWE went around and just started sending out letters from their legal department saying, if you don't stop using this Doink gimmick, we're going to sue you. So, he uses the name Doink still in AWF and nobody's really got after him? How does that still occur? Or is he still using it?
Yes, he is. Actually, right now, the gentleman that did that, he's recuperating from a serious knee injury that he occurred in the ring. I don't know how he gets away with it. He's been doing that, using that Doink gimmick for a long time. And he has lots of various WWE Legends guys on his shows. Recently, he had the Honky Tonk Man.
Right.
He had Heidenreich. He brings a lot of WWE, the older guys, Hacksaw Dugan, just to name a few right off the top of my head. He has a lot of WWE Legend guys there, so maybe that's the connection and they let him use it. I don't know, but he uses it. Same mask, the same outfit, He's got him a little being the heat seeker. He's got another clown partner called Chuckles that works with him.
Yeah. So
I've
actually, when I started off early in wrestling, going to indie shows, and I probably started watching indie shows more commonly in the early 2000s, and I remember in Colorado they had a Doink who was just absolutely horrible. The guy was 60 years old, didn't have any reason to be in the ring, didn't have any wrestling talent, any wrestling skills. Came off the second rope and completely did like a compound fracture, like a Sid Vicious style fracture of his ankle. It was ugly. I called him Doink number 72, and the guy there was so many Doinks at that time frame, and I kind of liked, as when I was earlier, when Doink was new, I liked the concept of them running, the Survivor Series where they'd have 4 Doinks or whatever. But I gotta admit, like, as an adult, it isn't a gimmick that would necessarily appeal to me now. Although the Evil Doink, I'm kind of excited. I would go see PWX and see Evil Doink and Matt Bourne do that gimmick.
Absolutely, because I always take the Psycho Clown thing, the movie Psycho Clowns from outer space, and so the Evil Doink with Matt Bourne I think would work. And I like PWX. I've been a few times down there. Frank runs a good show. They always draw well.
Right.
And he gives you a lot of good local talent from your area, plus he gives you the chance to see name guys also.
Right.
So, and the couple times we've been down there, Pain Lord, myself, Frank has always treated us really well, and I've enjoyed myself, and I would definitely recommend people go check out PWX.
Yeah, assuming nothing changes, I plan to be at the December 8th, I believe it's in Orlando, PWX show. Get the details at 911wrestling.com's Florida forum. But it's a good show. They had Jillian Hall, New Jack. They always, Steve Carino, the first time I saw him work an indie show was, live and in person, was at PWX. So I give those guys credit. They always put on a good show. They've always got good stars and good names.
The only thing they need to do is, Frank, for God's sake, man, have an intermission. He did. I'll definitely say one thing. Frank Goodman's show, he gives you your money's worth. You're not just going to go, if you pay $20 or $25 for a ringside seat like me, I drive 450 miles one way to come to that show. I get my money's worth out of a PWX show. You get plenty of matches, the big names. There's always one or two, duds or whatever in any show, but Frank Goodman definitely gives you your money's worth at the show.
Absolutely.
Please, intermission. The Gargoyle needs to be able to sneak out and have a cold beverage once in a while. I can't do that when there's no intermission.
Yeah, you get a good 4 hours out of PWX show. I like a lot of indie shows. He puts on one of the best indie shows in the state. I wish there was more options for food at some of these shows, and maybe they just there's not enough people who would buy it to meet that demand. But I certainly obviously would enjoy more shows, selling a couple burgers, selling a little bit more variety than just the Twizzlers they might have. I think PWX usually has some pizza or something.
This is true. It's funny that you say that. I recently attended a show that is run by Rodney Mack and Jazz, OWE, in Louisiana recently, and they had a great, probably the best food at any indie show I've had. They were having combo meals with burgers and fries and pizza and chili dogs and, nachos, and I think they had some crawfish there too, if I'm not mistaken. But to top it all off, the best part was they sold beer. It was great. And I'm like, hey, this is cool. What's going on with these Dixie cups over there? One of the kind people pointed me in the direction of the beer booth, which they had separate away from the food, so there were no kids allowed, and you could buy you a cold beer to enjoy the show at the same time. So, and I know they definitely made their money off of that.
Right. So the next topic, I'm gonna move us along a little bit, but was Jay Lethal went up for the ROH championship last night at what was the name of the show? Killer Instinct. Have you found any results for that show yet? Because I have not.
No, I have not either. I believe he was wrestling Kevin Steen.
Mm-hmm.
And who I love Kevin Steen, even though I think he needs to get back in a little bit better shape. He's kind of let himself go from what I've seen recently on the ROH TV shows. But Jay Lethal, another talented guy who loved Kevin Steen, but if he dropped the belt to Jay Lethal, I'd be happy. He's a guy that I believe you introduced me to at ASW at Strokers.
Certainly possible.
Nice guy, talented. He's another one of those guys that TNA let go to bring in those old washed up turds.
Yeah.
Hogan's cronies, Love Jay Lethal. Charisma, talent, ability, what more can you say?
Right. Now, Jay's a good guy at All Stars Wrestling in Florida because Jay Lethal lives in Tampa. I got a chance to see him because when he was under TNA contract, he'd sit way in the back of the bar because I don't know if he was supposed to be there or not, but he'd kind of sit up and just watch the wrestling talent. Maybe he was scouting for TNA. But yeah, he would come in because he lived 5 minutes from the bar and watch the indie show, and he was really quiet, not what you saw on TV, Really nice guy, and frankly, I hated to disturb him, but we had a lot of the same friends, you know, working the same wrestling shows and whatnot, so I got enough chances where I got to talk with him, and he seemed like a nice fellow.
He was. He took the time to talk to Kane Lord, myself, and pose for a few pictures, and was a genuinely nice guy, you know. And then I saw him, I believe, at one of those Best of the Best shows, too. He was on the card over there, and after the show, he took a minute to talk to me again. So, nice guy. I got nothing but good things to say about Jay Lethal, and wish him success in his wrestling career.
I remember one time at a indie show in the Central Florida area, Cammy Kendrick, and Ken Kendrick all got into a shoot fight at one point. So that was quite the item of controversy in this area. I don't know if I ever made the news, but those guys were all bruised up and banged up after a dispute that they had, but I think they've settled their differences at this point.
Well, I would hope so, you know. The Kendricks have always been nice to me, you know, when I see them, and I enjoy watching them, but, you know, what can you say? Sometimes you got to pay that receipt, as they say in the business there, so. Okay,
so I did find the results, and Kevin Steen and Jay Lethal fought to a no contest last night. The crowd was totally behind the hometown boy Jay Lethal in this one, it says. The match itself was said to be incredible and went 35 minutes. The crowd was said to be totally into it the entire time. Lethal hit 2 lethal injections on Steen, but the first time he kicked out and the second, he managed to roll out of the ring. The match then gets out of control as Steen goes to the barricades and starts trash talking before Lethal's mother throws a soda at Steen. He retaliates by spitting at her as Lethal goes crazy and pounds on Steen. Jim Cornette, who is at ringside, goes nuts, and Karina and Jacobs, as well as security, try to break things up. Steen manages to escape on the ramp, rips the curtain, and then goes backstage with the rest of the scum. Lethal continues to go crazy, throwing chairs and officials around. Lethal yells at Cornette before escorting his parents out of the building. He comes back to the ring, and Bobby Cruz announces that the match has been ruled a no contest. So you think we might see a little feud here?
I hope so. I think that could develop into a nice feud with two guys with contrasting styles, both who can talk, both who have charisma. So I think that'd be a good move for ROH.
Wonderful. Okay, so folks, we're now at the 13-minute point. We try to make these audio broadcasts between 10 and 15 minutes, so we've hit the end here, but maybe the Gargoyle and I, when we hit our next episode, which, as everyone knows, we don't quite do these weekly. They might be daily, they might be monthly. We just do them at convenience, and you can watch them at youtube.com/911wrestling, but maybe we can talk about Nathan Mania and some other big happenings here in this great state of Florida. Folks, I'm Snowman Jones, here with the Gargoyle. We'll catch you next week.